Off the Grid is a brand new Battle Royale released by Gunzilla Games, which was co-founded by 3 individuals, Vlad Korolov, Alex Zoll, and Neil Blomklop. And if you're wondering why Neil Blomklop sounds familiar, it's not because you saw him on Urban Dictionary. It's because he's the creative mind behind District 9, which is one of the main factors behind this entire game's feel and atmosphere. Anyone who's familiar with that movie immediately felt like they were immersed in that universe as soon as they loaded onto that map. This was one of the very first comments I saw about the game, and it actually makes perfect sense. Now everyone has the same question when a BR comes out. Can it hang with the big boys? Can it hang with the mammoths of the industry? Call of Duty, Fortnite, Apex, PUBG, and it all begins with, what's the vibe of this game? We all know Fortnite's the feel-good, colorful BR. Warzone's the twitchy, super loud BR for the boys. PUBG's that nerdy, strategical BR. And well, Apex is Apex. But there is one thing they all do have in common. They're all starting to feel extremely bland in a gaming industry that hasn't seemingly moved past 2018. Overwatch 2 is really Overwatch 1.5. Red Dead Redemption 2 is still the best RPG out. Games like Starfield and Cyberpunk just never hit like they were supposed to. And all the same exact Battle Royales I just mentioned previously are still at the top. So by the end of this video, hopefully we'll all have a better idea if this game has any chance at surviving next to any of those guys. Now before we get too excited or critical about anything, it's important to remember this game is still in early access and is subject to change in any area. And I'm mentioning this because the first thing anybody on a PC or a console is going to notice is that this game is not optimized at all. People with 4090s are getting 80 frames per second. And if a free-to-play BR can't run on the highest of rated computers, it stands no chance of success if lower tier PCs can't run it at all. The foundation behind a free-to-play game is that it has such a wide audience because anybody with any platform can play on it. Ease of access is huge there. I have a 3080 Ti and I at first was struggling to even navigate the menus, but once I turned off VSync lowered my settings, it seemed to balance out a bit. Now as soon as you enter that arena, you're going to see an extremely vibrant and inviting map. Once again, this universe truly mimics District 9, but here we see the more utopian, wealthy elements of that world that would facilitate such a gruesome sport for entertainment. Before you find yourself in any match, you're going to be treated to these cutscenes of doctors, of scientists, military personnel, acting out these amputations or experimenting with new limb attachments that are extremely odd. It feels like this was oddly timed with Tesla's autonomous robots that were just announced, and it's very dystopian just watching these videos. But once you finally have boots on the ground, you're going to experience every city element you could dream of. You have skyscrapers, gas stations, new construction, parking lots, gardens. It's all there. It feels like a real city. This map truly feels memorable. After about 5 minutes, you can see that this game is what you get if Warzone and Apex had a baby, but you'd be oddly suspicious that Fortnite was the dad because of the third-person aspect. From the in-game economy where you can collect cash to increase your loadouts, to reboot your teammates, with those non-stop audio cues and the game always talking to you, or even the health system, which is based off of plates in the health bar. This feels and plays a lot like Warzone. There really is something that's always fighting for your attention. But then of course you have these superpowers that mimic Apex, and they add this entire dimension to the game which every player has to account for. Before a fight starts, you really have no idea what your opponent has or what they might do. This power system is broken down into legs and arm styles which you can replace on the fly after finding them in loot boxes or taking them off your enemies. From grappling hooks to invisibility to accelerated running or jumping or even shooting mortars out of your legs. There are a lot of options you can choose from, and as this game progresses, I'm sure they'll continue to add different elements, different powers you can have and choose from. This is a key component of the game, and to where the developers really hope will keep it fresh and keep each game feeling like it was different, because that's exactly where we've gotten as a gaming community with Battle Royales. It seems like every match now is just more of a chore, more of a habit, rather than an outlet to have fun. Again, things have just seemed so monotonous for so long. Even games like Fortnite that pride themselves on being innovative have been recycling their ideas for a few chapters now, as their main focus has moved towards being a multiverse-centered game. This game genuinely feels fun and fresh. I mean, especially with the ability to change your view over your left and right shoulder. That's something that every third-person shooter should have, and it allows for so much better strategy and gunplay. Both the hit and damage feedback could be improved a bit. There were times I genuinely had no idea how much damage I was dealing out and how much damage I was taking, but I guess that's also something that will improve with time, with getting more familiar with the game. One thing that's critical in these high-paced games is being able to understand how your health is doing versus theirs simply based on visual or audio cues. We all know what happens when you look at your health bar in the middle of a fight. You'll notice the rarity colors of weapons are relatively easy to understand. There doesn't seem to be this massive difference in between the different rarities. Sometimes it kind of felt like my purple guns were doing just as much damage as the white ones. The movement in this game is top notch. Between the abilities your legs and jetpacks offer you, and then you have the zip lines which are all around the map, which of course allow you to rotate super easy. This is one of those games where dying to the storm, to the wall, truly is not an excuse. You have the ability to move as quick as you need to all the time. Now of course this fast-paced movement also creates a really fast-paced gunplay, and if you're one of those people that gets really upset when people fight and run, this game is going to make you lose some hair. This game is going to stress you out a little bit. And while the time to kill in this game isn't as fast as games like PUBG or quite as long as games like Apex, you're typically going to have a chance to fight back if someone gets the drop on you, or be eliminated even if you have the drop on them. And that can be very important for a community because no one wants to play a game where they feel like they never have a chance when they get ambushed. That plays a major role in getting a game off of its feet up onto its legs. When a community starts playing a game and consistently feels like they're dying from a direction they don't know and they can't do anything about it, it's going to lead to them putting down their controller and quitting out of the game much quicker than it would be if they at least know they have a chance to fight when they do get ambushed. People tend to have a lot more fun when they know they have a chance. So can this game really enter the big leagues? Honestly, yes, I really think it can. Obviously, this game has to truly figure out its optimization, but if they can do that and really connect with their community, we could be entering a new era of battle royales. But at the same time, if this game focuses on monetization and crypto before establishing that it's a great game, this will turn right into the NBA 2K or FIFA of the BRs. Now, I did find a few things that were pretty interesting or pretty funny that I thought were worth talking about. Off the rip, when you load this game up, you'll see that there's a ninja collab, and depending on how you feel about him, probably decide whether or not you hate or love this. I have to admit it's a pretty good looking skin, and I thought it was pretty interesting and pretty aggressive for them to go after him off the get-go. Still have to say, the cutscenes before every match, it's still a really weird vibe and feels like they're conditioning us for something. It feels really weird. The screen you get when you win is actually super boring. I'm not gonna lie, there seems like there's no hype or no energy after winning, and we all know that we need that positive feedback. Feed us something that we want. Feed us something cool. Remember how we used to all go crazy for that Victory Royale banner to pop up? We don't want this Excel sheet in front of us. And just to be patient with this game. At first, when I loaded in, there were so many different elements, so many things happening at once that I really felt like I was overwhelmed. It really does help if you play with some friends, because that allows for you to slow down a little bit, understand what's happening in the game and around you, rather than if you're on your own, you're essentially playing 1v3, because again, we all know if you're not using comms in these BR games, you're essentially by yourself. Let me know in the comments, what do you think? Have you played this yet? What do you like? What don't you like? Do you think this game has any chance of going up against Fortnite or Warzone or Apex? As always, hit that sub button and turn on notifications. Go out there and do something great.